I'm going to invite Representative Abeler up here, and I won't be giving extensive introductions. Going to keep it really fair, and it's Representative Abeler is your intro. Okay? I'm going to give you this, and I will get my own.
Well, thanks for having me. This is great. I think I was here back in September with one of the 1-minute things, and that was nice. Nice to have a minute of to say hello. Now we have a few more minutes, which is really good. And I want to thank you for being part of this. And as I said, a tracker, I don't get trackers everywhere I go, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. So, what's your first name?
Mike.
Yeah, I get Teddy and Emilio, so Mike. Yeah, way to be. And but so it's really quite a time that we're in. If you haven't been keeping track, and our country is absolutely in peril. You know that. You're amongst some of the more informed, well-read people that I get to talk to, and I just give you kudos for that.
What's a tracker?
Oh, a tracker. Okay. Do you want to stay?
I prefer not.
Oh, no, that's all right. So, well, you would think of him as a spy. So, in a nice, shortest. I mean, they're just, he's keeping track of what I might say. He hopes I say something really good that they can use on the video against Al Franken when October comes, so he can tell people why they should keep Al instead. And that's what he's hoping for. He's probably taping it or something. And my mother prefers video, so she can watch that at home. Anyway, so that's out of the way. So I'm Jim Abeler. I'm a 16-year state representative. I've got 6 kids. There's a picture. Maybe did you all get these things? A little family deal. If you don't have one of these, put up your hand, and Gary will make sure you get one. Put this on your fridge so you can pray for us. Hey, Gary, some people need these bio cards, so they're going to put their hands up there. So at least you'll keep track of what I'm about. So I don't want to read it all to you. I've been in the legislature 16 years in the healthcare side. I'm a chiropractor 35 years, married 33 years. That gets, we do better every year with how that grows, and that's been quite interesting. And so, why do I want to run for the Senate? I've been 16 years in the House. I would probably have a 70% election this next time. And so why would I want to walk away from that to do something like this? Well, the fact is we are in peril. And when 9/11 happened, when Pearl Harbor Day happened, certain people came forward to volunteer because they knew it was their time to go do something. That's what I feel like now. There's a lot of things that make you unhappy with the federal government. 3 things are going to make you sick. 4 things are going to kill you. The deficit at $1 trillion a year and $17 trillion in debt, you know that. The whole Obamacare mess, which is not fair to the word mess, which is ruining 1/6 of our economy. Federal overreach, and a president thinks he can undo any law he wants just because he feels like it. So every amendment you care about, all this stuff in here, it's all at risk just because with a guy like that there. And finally, a foreign policy that set us up so that our friends don't trust us and our enemies don't fear us. We're in peril. And what compels me to run is I actually know how to do something about the first 2 personally. In my role as a legislator, as the chairman of the Health and Human Services Finance Committee, I've cut billions of dollars out of the healthcare entitlements budget. No one's ever done that before. I did that in 2011. And if you extrapolate that to the federal level, I can find a way to reduce spending by $1 trillion a year over a decade. No one knows how to do that. I'm considered on both sides of the aisle to be one of the top 2 healthcare experts in the legislature. And actually we're both retiring this year, which is interesting. And so the whole healthcare thing is so complicated, you can't just do on-the-job training with it. I know how to pick up the pieces of what has just totally rocked our healthcare system. And that's what compels me to run. Also what compels me is this little girl here. How many of you have seen her at a talk I've given? This is my granddaughter, Raina. And she was born, I just saw her yesterday. It's so awesome. So she's pushing 1 year and 5 months now. She was born New Year's Day a year ago. But she was born into massive debt and has lost liberties and freedom she never even knew she had. And she's starting to talk now. And so her first words were, "Where was Al Franken?" to protect her from all those perils that she's suffering. You got the video on that? Just bugging you. Anyway, so this is what compels me. And not just her. I'm not so selfish to think my granddaughter is the best, although probably. And we just had a grandson born yesterday. His name is Grayson Alexander Abeler. They're both Colorado kids. But I care about your grandkids. And she actually wants to have kids someday, and she has dreams. And a lot of people came here because of the dream. And 100 years ago, my Irish ancestors came. They were sick of potatoes. It wasn't going well. They came here for a new way, a new life, a chance. 300 years ago, my English, and oh, I didn't know I was being timed. Okay, that's fine. Okay, intro. Anyway, so that's fine. So, and they came 300 years ago and fought in the American Revolution. And so a lot of people want to come here and enjoy what we have. Unless you're Native American, we're all here for the dream, and that's what I want to try to preserve. So I'll stop. Oh, whatever. It's good. There's lots of time to talk. So.
Thank you.
Oh, you wanted to hold your sign up. I'm sorry.
She's got the red construction paper already. She'd like to use it.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so our first question for you tonight for our Senate candidates is, do you support abolishing the IRS and repealing the 16th Amendment? If so, do you advocate for the fair or flat tax? If not, what solutions would you propose to rein in the out-of-control taxation by the federal government?
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that. One thing, I'll answer the question, but I just want to help you understand, none of us know everything. I was sitting in the back chatting with some of your members, and every place I go I learn something. I've been to 360 places almost, all across Minnesota. Every place I go I learn. I learn about what it's like in that niche of the state. And my expertise area is healthcare, human service, entitlement management, which no one else knows how to do. I've been reading the Constitution a lot, trying to learn about it like I studied the Bible, and some Constitution scholars spend their whole life and they still haggle about some point. So, the Constitution is absolutely what we have to rely on. Without this, there is no foundation, there's no stability. Then we have, well, what do you think, Mr. Justice? What do you think? And what do you think, oh, President? And this is our foundation. And so I'm pretty stuck on that. And so I think the fair tax could make a lot of sense. Ironically, in 1998, when I ran the first time, I was screened by the Tribune, and I thought that the sales tax idea made more sense than all the income tax stuff. And no one was talking about it back in 1998. And they said in their write-up, they didn't endorse me that year, but they said he has a novel thought about this idea. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Not being a tax guy, I need to study a few more things to make sure that there's not unreasonable winners and losers. Anytime you change a tax structure and keep it revenue neutral, some people pay more, some people pay less. I just want to caution you about that. But I'm moving closer and closer to that as an idea that makes a lot of sense. And I was just reading about tax reform in Washington. It's like, yeah, that's like the spring hobby they do. You're not going to get the reforms you want in so many areas that you hope for until you get 60 seats in the Senate, a president you like, and hold the House. And because 51 in the Senate means you get to have the committees, but it takes 60 seats to do most of the business. And so just to caution you, the difficult takes a while, the impossible takes longer, but you want to know where you're trying to get to. And this little book helps me with that, as does my idea of where I want to go.
Green means on. Good. I like that. Our second question, how should the United States maximize energy independence while reining in the EPA and its burdensome regulations which violate private property rights and stifle business growth?
Yeah, super. Well, we can celebrate. Last September, we began importing less oil than we made ourselves. That was a big deal. And I live in Anoka. There's a train track where 80 trains go back and forth every day. And there's these big black tank cars, and I celebrate the fact that they can be going by my house. And they discovered this stuff explodes a lot, so they're getting stronger tankers, which I think is also good, I think, because that's only 3/8 of a mile from my house. But so there's a lot to celebrate. But that's all being done on private land. There's a lot of federal land that we have access to, which I think we should go after. I'm an all-of-the-above energy guy, just so you know. I think the oil and all that, and clean coal, you can't shut down nuclear like Germany did. That was a mistake, and they're very dependent now on Russia with all the 30%, with all the natural gas. They've really put themselves in a box, and so we need to keep exploring for alternatives as well. And I have personally favored renewables, and I think that they're going to get more and more efficient as we go along. And I think at the end of the day, though, if you look what's happening to Germany and Europe as they're worrying about the Crimea, that where 30% of the oil goes, of their fuels goes through that part of the world where they're just hamstrung to have to do business with Russia, that you don't want to be that kind of dependent place. Remember all the Arab oil embargoes and all of that. And so we need to run our own country. And just on the thought of what I would do about Keystone and all those, we build all those pipelines. We need to build a pipeline from the Bakken up to Duluth so we can get rid of that natural gas can be sent over. If there's a place to put it, I even saw the map where they want to put it. And I would also go after building the plants that do liquefied natural gas at ports. And we become exporters. And that would make Mr. Putin real happy, because then we'd be competing with him. And so Teddy Roosevelt had it right. Talk softly and carry a big stick. And the Russians are not our friends. And so to defend our friends, it would be good to actually build our own exporting capacity as well.
All right, thank you. And our third question, how would you propose addressing the illegal immigration problem? And as a result, the national security threat our nation faces as a result of our open borders policies and indiscriminate enforcement of the law?
Well, immigration is a mess. And like I said, we're all immigrants. What you want to remember, though, is most of the immigrants in this country are here legally, and we need them. They are great citizens. Some are refugees or asylees. Some have immigrated, just get in line and come like my ancestors did. And so you want to make sure that we don't talk about them in the same breath as you talk about illegal immigrants, people who have snuck in. Any other country in the world, you sneak in, you're going to go to jail or worse. And try to sneak into Turkey, see how that works for you. You'll not like that, just as an example. Even sneak into Mexico, the round trip, they don't like that any. And so first we got to secure the border and really mean it. It's our border. And never mind the illegals. What about the people that were terrorists we're so worried about? Sneaking in. It seems like that would just be prudent. I don't understand why it's an argument. I don't understand. The second thing is there's some laws on the books. Remember laws that we passed? People discussed and passed a law about what to do. And so we should enforce the laws we have on the books. We are a nation of laws. And when a president doesn't follow a law that we passed, he becomes a lawbreaker. His job as chief executive is actually to enforce the laws, especially the ones that are found in here that are compatible with this. And finally, there's something called E-Verify, which is where we have a hard time doing it in Minnesota. We've been discussing this for over a decade, where if you want to work, you plug your name into the thing and you see how you come up, and then you verify that you're correctly here in the country. And the problem remains, though, there's 11 million undocumented illegal people here. What do you do? And that's the debate we have had a hard time having. A lot of us have sympathy for the youth who were brought here. The adults, they came in an illegal way. That's a different kind of problem. But so we've failed. But just my last comment on that, if you're going to do a deal to fix this in some genius way, I'm not convinced that the president we have is a guy I can trust to hold up his end of the bargain when we do a handshake. He'll do the easy stuff and not the hard stuff, which is what concerns me, and wish I had more time. But thank you.
And number 4 question, although no legislative power is granted to the President in the U.S. Constitution, Presidents exceed their authority by issuing executive orders on bills passed by Congress. What action will you take to stop the President from legislating in violation of the Constitution?
Those executive orders are kind of messy things. When he would be president. When Governor Dayton did his executive order, he does a bunch of them from time to time. Only one has been undone. That was the unionization of daycares. Only because someone took him to court. And so, unfortunately, in terms of the practical operation of our government, when the president or the governor issues an executive order, it stands unless someone controverts it by court and actually wins. And so, first, you want to make sure the president there understands his role and has a copy of this book. This would help him understand that he's not supposed to do that. And laws are reserved for the Congress and for the legislature. But so the best we can do practically is to say, stop doing that. And just so you don't like it, the Democrats don't like it either. And so that's the best we can do. When we pass a law, if Congress would pass, the House and the Senate would both pass a law to say you can't do that, and he wouldn't sign it. And maybe if you get a friendly president, like Romney would have got in or something, he would have probably said, no, we don't want to do this. If you could have passed the law, he would have signed it, then it would have been illegal to do it. So that's the best I can offer you. And then the 3 yes/no questions.
Yeah, and then we're going to finish up exactly with the 3 yes or no questions on the back. The United Nations advocates unconstitutional programs like Agenda 21, while the approval rating of the UN among the American people has been reported to be less than 30%. Will you support and vote for legislative initiatives that will get the United States out of the UN?
Is it just yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Yes
We had
or
a
no?
longer answer, but that's good enough, yeah.
There is no power granted in the Constitution for federal involvement in education and programs it promulgates, such as Common Core. Will you support and vote for legislation that will abolish the Federal Department of Education?
Can I just say a little bit about that?
Yes or no first?
Oh, yes, I would.
Okay.
In your papers, you'll see an article on Common Core. I'm the only candidate who's actually done anything about Common Core. I put a bill in to limit data exporting and keep us in control over our curriculum. Couldn't get a hearing, brought it up on the floor. It wasn't germane. But so we need to make a point to keep the feds out of our healthcare and our education. Every time they
Okay,
touch
next
us,
question.
they mess up. Oh,
Thank
sorry.
you. Yes or no? Will you support and vote for a full audit of the Federal Reserve System?
Yes.
Yes. All right, and with that, thank you very much.
Can I have for a 1 minute close?